tons of money every year by creating your own food like I do, grab our Seed Pack Special. Just look for the banner on the homepage at freedomslips.com. Don't be a statistic. Don't be part of the problem. Be part of the solution. We need, as humans, to start taking care of ourselves and not depending on the megacorps to provide unhealthy, nasty food. Included in this package is also a DVD with 900 survival and off-grid living documents and the offline home canning how to do everything website all on the DVD. So when you're growing all that food, you know how to can it, store it, preserve it, etc. with all these documents. So thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. I hope that you will pick up this package and start learning to be free. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, where information never sleeps and freedom is one seed that needs to be planted.
What we do in life, it goes in eternity.
Hi there. I think I'm pretty late arriving to the show. It's the Joanna Hart show. And my producer hasn't turned up this morning, so I'm going to go ahead with the show. I've got a pretty heavy heart this morning. So there's a certain woman who has hung one of my shows that I took down because I believe somebody was defamed very badly in the show. And I disagreed with it. It was a massive mistake to have this person on. It was a request by someone else. I covered a subject that I didn't know anything about, hadn't read about, because I found it upsetting because of my own past. And this person, despite me asking them not to hang it, has gone ahead and hung it. And then I heard this morning that they're saying they have permission from Revolution Radio to hang it. That bad, that nasty. I tell you this, if Revolution Radio has perchance gone over my head as a radio host, which I very much doubt, and given permission to someone else, then Revolution Radio isn't for me, because I have to have control over what comes on air. If I make a mistake and bring someone on air that uses it to hurt somebody because they've made a judgment on somebody, then I will stop that going on, okay? I will stop that going on. It's nothing about me personally. I don't like that kind of thing happening, okay? So what I will do, I will go to Revolution Radio and speak to the owner, which is Hawk, and I will ask him if that is the case, if they have granted this position to this woman to have this pirate copy of the show, which I very much doubt. And if they say that this is true, then I will no longer be with Revolution Radio. I don't agree with that kind of thing. I don't agree with targeting someone. I don't agree with attacking people at all. Okay? So I'm trying to have an interesting show. I don't want the show to be boring, but I'm really in the future going to watch my guests. My guests are going to be interviewed by me beforehand. I'm only going to come on air once a week. And that will be on the Thursday rather than the Monday. And my guests are going to be grilled by me. They're going to have a good message. They're not going to badmouth anybody. They're not going to sit in judgment of people. That's not the way we're told. It says in the Bible, judge, not let's ye be judged. But I've been really stupid and let on people that sit in judgment of others. They defame others. The upshot of that as well, this troll who's been attacking me, who's a professional troll and has just come out of prison for trolling a police officer, no less, and a few other people, is getting stuck in with his business again and on, saying things that I have said in my books aren't true. Now, these are books, one of them published by Mainstream, which is owned by Random House, and the rights have been taken now by Random House. So when I say I'm published by Random House, I have every right to say that because it is the parent. And I hear from Random House. Whenever I need permission, I go to Random House. I'm a Random House author. Last time I looked, I was on their website. If I'm not there, I'll get myself put up again. I was proud to find myself there under their list of authors. My other book, so that's In for the Kill. My other book, Searching for Daddy, is published highly respectably by Hodder and Staunton, has sold over 1 100,020 copies and has been translated in different language. This troll's favorite thing is to say, oh, it's not true in her book. This isn't true. That isn't true. She's a liar. I think actually these publishers are more powerful than you, Simon. They're in a better position than you, and they checked their facts legally to make sure they're not sued. Okay, so carry on defaming me in every which way that you try to can. You know what? At the end of the day, I was totally wrong to attack you. I was totally wrong to be angry with you, because you have your fight in life. You have your needs, and your needs aren't being filled. They're not being filled at all. So you have to come over and attack different people. And I'm not the only one, I suppose, that you've got on your list. And I haven't been the only one in the past that you've had on your list. And because you're unhappy with your own life, you go for these different people. And while you're doing that, you don't see what you've got going on for you. And what you've got going on for you is a really good brain. And what you've got going on for you is you're a very, very talented writer. You're a much more talented writer than I am. I got published on a fluke. You could probably get published on your brain. Is this what makes you angry with me? And if it is, it's probably justified. But you keep working, you keep going on the right path, and you will get recognition. But doing it this way, you won't get recognition. Demonizing me won't lead to recognition. Demonizing me will just lead to you getting any forces of karma coming back and hitting you. The same as if I do anything bad, I get bad forces of karma coming back and hitting me. And you were talking on as well about my family being a really good family. You know, my family, we're a strange family. My father was rather infantile, my adopted father. My mother chose to demonize me. She was envious of me, and I suffered under her. In her later years before death, we made friends, sort of, if you can call it that. And she told me she loved me, and I told her I loved her. And I talked to her about my adopted father and what went on. And we made friends over that. And when she died, she left me some money. That money isn't that much, but it's what we very much need at this moment in time. So my memory of my mother is precious. It's private. And I don't care for you, Simon, talking about my family. They have nothing to do with you, and they're dead now, and they have absolutely nothing to do with you, same as your mother has nothing to do with me, okay? So stop talking about them. It's not right, and it's not godly, and it's private. And because my mother has left me a small amount of money when I'm in massive need, then everything that she did, every bad thing that she did, I've forgotten and I've forgiven, and I focus on the good things. Having a fish finger sandwich together, her making me coffee, me crying to her when I used to ring her. I don't remember the bad times. I focus on the good, and I forgave. And when I forgave, I found the ice that had gone over my heart cracked, and I was able to have a better relationship with women. I was always wary of women. I thought, when are they going to hurt me next? And forgiving my mother enabled me to rejoin women and not be scared of them. Not so, oh, there's that group over there that doesn't like me, or the women in the neighborhood don't like me, when actually it's just that one there and that one there, and the others are living their own damn lives, you know? So that's me overreacting, and I shouldn't overreact. And it's nice that I am making friends with women in the neighborhood where I live, and coming to terms with, although they might live in big houses and have rich husbands, they have problems in their own right. And I feel that I'm doing massive amounts of healing around women. And this is sometimes what enemies give to you. If someone hates you, you feel the feelings that you feel inside when they're attacking you or saying things about you. And you think, what are they saying that's right? and this person was saying that I was a loser and 99% of the population is more successful than me. And they're completely right. And I felt that. And I haven't been successful. And they said, you keep trying certain things and they keep failing. And that's true. And then they pointed out that I had a company here, but it hadn't been registered at Company's House. And you're supposed to do that if you're going to have a company. And if you're going to have a news agency, you have to have insurance. And I thought, yeah, I don't do anything properly. And I don't do anything properly because I don't respect myself. In a way, I carried on my mother's legacy of not respecting myself, of thinking, well, not proper investigator. I'm not a proper journalist, even though I've got talents in that area. So I won't do this properly. I'll just do it half-assed and skanky and not right. And I won't give myself self-respect. I won't give myself self-respect to put stories I've done for the Sunday Times online that I can scan in. I can put them on a website, but I'll choose not to do that, because if someone comes along and says, no, you didn't, then they can have a free punch at me, because I think, well, I'm not worth it. I'm not worth putting down boundaries. I'm not worth saying, well, actually, there you go, now argue with that. I mean, they'll probably say something like, oh, that's fake. There's a fake, oh, that's not actually you, someone with the same name. I mean, if someone has that mentality, they're going to come at you, over and over again with the same thing. I remember the first story I did with my byline with the Sunday Mirror, and I showed it to my mother with pride and silly. She looked at it and she said, did real journalists not want to cover that subject? That's a piddly little story. And she just put the paper straight in the dustbin. And then when I went to Belfast, I was doing stuff with the Sunday Times, and Liam Clark took me on under his wing. I was lucky. And I sent her my stories. And then when I came back from Belfast, I said, did you see, what did you think of the stories? She said, oh, that crap. I threw it straight in the bin. And that is what I got over the weekend from my troll, that kind of negation, he actually, when he found this platform where he had this group of people around that he thought he had an audience, he was saying, this person's a liar. Listen to this. She said this, she said that. And it's rather what my mother did to the neighbors. And then he was adding bits. Gosh. He was adding bits about the gutters of your mind. And it's like, I read it and I just felt particularly bad. And then I wondered why I felt bad, because I was talking to a friend who was like, oh, just, ignore it. And I shouldn't keep going and seeing what he's saying, because God knows it just made me feel bad. And I went out with my ex-boyfriend, who's moved in the house because this particular troll, and no, it's not deeply dishonest, this particular troll has slashed my tires. Even if it's not you, Simon, I'm sorry, but your obsession with me leads me to believe it is you. And that's why the police are looking at all your online obsession with me. Okay, so you will be interviewed by them. And I was feeling upset, and I had Sunday lunch with my ex, who's a hard man. He's ex-army, and he's like really hard. And he was like, oh, when I get hold of him. And I suppose it made me feel better bathing in that male strength. And then I went off to church. I went to church. I wanted to go to church, and I still sitting there. I sat alone in church, and I sat opposite Jesus Christ on the cross. And I did what a friend of mine called Julie always says to do. If someone's saying bad stuff like that, just really feel it in your stomach, really feel it, and actually thank them, because they're helping you to get to old stuff that shouldn't be in there. It should be out. And so I did that, and I was feeling this stuff, and it was just all about my mother. And it was all about that when my mother had a stroke in hospital, I felt that it was over. I felt that never more would I have somebody saying those things to me, like you're evil and you're, in that way where they try and get other people, demonization. And I thought I would never be demonized again because I am an incredibly truthful person. There's not one thing in any of my books that's a lie. Why? Not because I bow to man, because I bow to Jesus Christ. And I believe Jesus Christ will repay me and give me good things in my life if I stick to the rules that he's laid down. And that's why when I write in books, and also most of the time I'm writing for people that have been hurt as children, and I don't want to sit there and feed them shit. I want to sit there and feed them chicken soup, because that means I, in return, am doing something good, and then I will get something back. So there's selfish motives there involved, but I don't want to feed them bad things. So everything in my book is true. Everything in my book has been checked, and there was certain confusion about, was I left alone with a certain prisoner? Yep, afraid. There's documents given by the place where I went. There's written letters from the certain person. That certain person had unsupervised visits that were soon stopped after what happened to me. And sorry about that, but Hodder and Stoughton has legaled that, and so has Mainstream. They didn't just take my word for it, folks. So there you go. Sorry about that, but I'm not a big fat liar. I am a good person, and I pray to Jesus Christ every day, and that is what I am. So anyway, I was sitting there in church, and I was sitting there looking at this Christ on the cross, and I was feeling this pain of this person who was pushing on me, evil, demonizing me, that my mother had done when I was a child. The kind of see that child there, that's a bad child, that's not a good child, that child has bad thoughts, that person does bad things, that child's a liar, that child isn't good as that child over there who's really good. And I don't know if anybody else has had that experience. I hope they haven't, because it is the worst experience. You really do take it on board. And there I am in my big body and thinking, well, this person is doing the same thing. It was rather a hallelujah when my mother died, and I naively thought that I was free, and I was free. And in a way, when I started doing the radio show and beautiful angels came down and left good things in the comments, they really healed me. And I did a lot of just regaining my trust in people, and that can never be taken away. And these good people gave me that, and that can't ever be taken. And this person has come in doing this, continuing the work my mother finished, continuing her work, really. And they got stuck in. And I thought, well, hang on, not only have I had those really good people come to me, and God bless them, they've given me this positive feedback that I'm a good person, and they've made me, realize, hey, come on, I was a victim to this woman. Jesus Christ is mine, and I don't have to go and splash around looking for fallen angels to kind of get them to protect me from demonic attack. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. I can look to Jesus Christ. It's mine to keep, and I'm a good person, and to just to know that I have that supernatural resource when I'm supernaturally attacked from the dark side, which are people that are hosting, and they have that energy, which it's a horrible energy to feel. And when you're an empath, you can feel that energy. And Max Spears talked about it, that sometimes these people, especially trolling, they're doing it because they're hosting. It's the demonic that actually wants to have the interaction with you, not so much them. And they're basically just being used. Surely, these people want to have their own lives. They don't want to sit at a computer doing this. They're stuck. And presumably they're stuck in a place thinking that they're bad people. So what happens, it's the demonic speaking to you. So I used to think that I had to go and find a fallen angel, something to kind of get protection from the demonic attacks, which is completely idiotic. But then if you've been battered by the demonic, then it does rather disable you in certain ways. But I have had so much healing, masses of healing, and it's been healing by good people. They've come forward to me and given me masses of feedback. They've taken the time to my radio show, and nobody can ever take what those people have given me. Nobody can take that away. Certainly not someone hosting a minion there of darker forces. And I sat there before Jesus Christ, and I looked at Jesus, and I cried and I cried and I cried, and all the pain of the demonization of that person, saying the gutters of my mind, and perhaps it's babyish to be hurt by it, but it just brought up all the stuff of my mother. So it was all kind of coming out of me, and all that pain of being demonized in such a way, especially when you're a good person, especially when you've got a good heart, to be like, it's almost like being put asleep in a certain way, by being covered in darkness when actually the light is yours, it's everyone's, right? And so I cried and cried and cried, and I felt better. I just felt a weight had been lifted. And it's weird how one's enemies can do that. What they can do when they hurt you in that way, they can trigger the old pain, and they can actually help get it out. So you can see it clearer. And so I cried, and I felt so much lighter, and I felt so stupid for what I've been doing in my life, like looking at, oh, let's examine that serial killer, and let's examine that IRA leader, and let's examine evil. I want to know about evil. Well, actually, we don't need to know about evil, because it's beyond our comprehension of our tiny minds. We're stuck in human minds. We can't ever, ever, ever comprehend evil. We can't. And I've spent my life trying to comprehend it, to get to grips with it, because I thought once I get to grips with it, I can get control over it, and then it can never hurt me again. But that's nonsense. I can't do that. And I sat there in the church yesterday, and I finally threw my hands up, looking at Jesus, who evil nailed him to the cross. Now, if a supernatural being like Jesus Christ, God incarnate, comes down in a human body, and he gets murdered and he gets nailed, his feet banged in and blood all over him, whipped, and his nails, looks like it's a hard thing to do on earth in 3D reality, to control evil. Looks like it's hard. Jesus had to go through all that. He had to be whipped. He had to take up his cross. He had to fall twice. And I think I can, I know, I'm going to go and meet Kenneth Bianchi, and I'm going to really get evil down, and evil is going to be my bitch. And when I get it there, I'm going to go, you can't get me again. That's not actually going to happen. And I've got to quite a ripe old age, and I've been doing that all of my life, and literally been wasting my life. So I'm giving this broadcast today in case there's anyone else out there who's doing it. And I know quite a few writers. I know Chris Berry D, who's doing exactly the same thing. Oh, he said, I'm gonna find out what evil is, and I'm gonna take it down. And God bless him. He's a good guy, but he can't do it. And he, in the end, got overwhelmed by a serial killer that we both met, got overwhelmed by demonic attack from that particular person. And we both had this same experience. And he said, Chris, I don't like to say it, but I was terrified. And he said, the only place I could go was a priest. He said, to try and get help. And I said, well, exactly the same thing happened to me. And it was at that point where I thought, hang on, this is silly. And I thought, I can't do it. And then I sat in a position of feeling powerless, almost like gathering my strength to go back and do it again. Because I thought, hang on, I know what demonic attack is like when it gets really, really bad. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go for it again, which is completely ridiculous. Because you know what? Evil did that to Jesus Christ on the cross. And if you ever think, well, I can conquer it, I can find out what it is, look at what Christ had to do. God himself had to come into human form, and that's what he had to do just to free us, just to get power. And he did it for us. because he knew we couldn't do it for us. I can't say it. We can't do it for ourselves. So what I was doing was ignoring Jesus Christ. Part of that was my mother saying, Jesus Christ, not for you. You're a bad person. So I took her word for it. So I was Jesus Christ. And also Jesus Christ was painted. He's got no power. He's kind of boring. Satan, yeah. As in the movies we all watch and swallow. He's the real powerhouse. Nope. Jesus Christ has the keys now. He has the keys to the underworld. He has Satan under control. The battle has been won, but we're still stuck here in this time loop where Satan is being unleashed for a season and we're having to suck on it, which is hard. But there is special things that we can do. One of the things we can do is go into the body of Christ. There, if you keep him close, if you become one with the body of Christ, then you can be safe. And that's the only way you can be safe. Take it from me, someone who has gone forward thinking they were Joan of bloody Arc, just because it's my middle name, well, it's half my middle name, Joanna, Joan, thinking I know I can conquer evil. And then there's the ego part of me thinking, well, people will think I'm a good person if I do that, and nobody will ever demonize me ever again. But people will demonize everybody. I'm sure there's people that demonize Jesus Christ. You will never, ever, ever be free from evil if you're here. You will never, ever be free of that person or that person or that person trolling you or spitting at you or saying to that person over there, that's a bad person. Even if it's your neighbor gossiping about you, saying that's a bad person. That person, that woman, there's a bit of a slut. Or that one there, see, she's a liar. Or anything like that. Going on. Oh, hang on. I've got someone coming into my group call. Oh, they seem to have gone. I don't know if I'm on dead air or not on dead air. I've completely lost the gist of what I'm saying. Am I on air or not on air? I have no idea. Hang on. Here we are. Hello, Christine. You are live now, correct? Just curious. Someone asked in chat. And can you announce your guest's name again, please? I don't have a guest. My guest today is myself. So, Jerry, hi. Thanks for saying hi, but I don't have a guest today. I don't have a guest. I'm going to read from a book. Okay, so there we are. I hope I'm on air. I really do, but I don't know if I am or not. Okay, I don't know if I am. But yeah, so if anybody's feeling suffering or feeling trapped in the position that I was in yesterday afternoon, feeling that you're surrounded by evil, you're surrounded, maybe your husband is being cold to you, maybe you got a slap in the face when you went out, or whatever is going on in your world where you feel cold and you feel that you were surrounded by this horrible energy. And it is horrible because I literally felt it too much on me yesterday with Simon getting a crowd around him and saying, she's a liar, everything in her books isn't true, she's a liar, she's a bad person, the gutters of her mind. And literally it felt like a heavy weight, and I was reminded of my mother. And I went into church, and if you go into a church, or if you just look at Jesus Christ on the cross, now look at the biggest statue you can of Christ on the cross, and meditate on that and say to yourself, look what evil did to him. Now, evil here means business, and the more stronger the attack is on you, the more you've got in you to help people. Okay, so if you're getting it coming down, remember that it's because the dark thinks that you can do something. So it's up to you then to find out what this good thing is. And you can take things to help you. There is Neil's Yard SOS. You're feeling beaten, you have the crap beaten out you by evil like I had yesterday. You can take the SOS. It's from flowers. It can make you feel better. And you can go and pray. You can go and smell essential. You can go and walk barefoot amongst nature and think that demonic power, okay, has no power in other places. It has no power in the higher realms. It's stuck here. That's where it does its work. It doesn't have power in the higher realms, okay? The only place it can get at you is here. And the only place it can get at you is other people that don't have a good heart. Luckily, on this forum, there was one man who is in charge of the forum who has a good heart. So my troll was literally having to behave himself to a certain. He was keeping his demonizing down low because it was a man with a good heart watching who actually said to me, if he gets nasty, I will remove his comments. He did certainly get nasty. It certainly upset me. But I suppose it's something that wouldn't upset everybody. It was demonization. It was calling someone a liar when they are not a liar. And I swear on Christ on the cross that everything they were calling me out for being a liar is the truth. Okay? And I care about my eternal soul. Right. So anyway, back to, sorry, Jerry came and threw me off, but never mind. Back to sitting there in the church, and I saw Christ, and I cried and cried and cried. And then all of a sudden, that feeling you get when you do reach the pain and you get it out of you, and then you sort of go back to your normal self and you feel your normal cheerful happy self. I don't believe in depression. I know people suffer it, but you know what, primal therapy can unblock that. Primal therapy can get your it can kick down your defenses. It gets through the defenses. It gets to the old pain that you've got stored up there. It gets it all out. And then the next time you get something that makes you feel sad, it doesn't just trigger all that old stuff. So you get stuck in a constipated depression. You feel new pain and it gets rid of any of the old residue. So primal therapy is actually invaluable. And they're still doing it out in Los Angeles. I do recommend Barry Bernfeld at the Primal Institute to do that. It's not a lightweight therapy. It's a real kick-ass. It's rough, but it will heal you. It cured me, and I got my feelings back. And then when I do get triggered by somebody, it's a blessing because it can get rid of any old residue. So you don't go back and have to pay another £10,000 at Primal Therapy. You, the trolls do it for free. So you kind of have to say thank you for getting to my feelings. Actually, this man was saying about you sold a story of lies to the newspaper that you were related to a serial killer. No, I didn't actually. That was Phil Hall, who was my boyfriend, saying that I was related to somebody and smearing me with a smear that actually has made me feel dirty my whole life long. And then Simon went on saying, and the money you earned from it when you were thrown out of your village, you went to America, and when you done your evil money, you ended up on the street. Firstly, I didn't have any money from the story, even though it was a front page and a middle page. Secondly, I went off to New York with £1,000, I think, in my pocket, which was given to me by my boyfriend at the time. And I went there, and yeah, it was pretty quickly that money was done in getting a flat. And I got a job as a cocktail waitress, and I worked as a cocktail waitress. And I ended up losing a job and then getting another one. And eventually an ex-boyfriend of mine paid me to come home because it was lonely. And for your disgusting accusations that I was rejected by my family and I was rejected by my village. That's funny because last time I looked, I went back to live with my parents, okay? They sat down with me and worked things out. So don't you dare ever talk about my life and demonize me, because you know what? It comes straight back at you and you look exactly what you are. So going back to me sitting in the church opposite Jesus Christ with an open heart and an honest heart, because at the end of the day, people, we're only here for a really, really short time. And then when we leave this plane, we will be judged. We will be able to say, I want to go with Jesus Christ. I don't just want to go that way after leading a really bad, dishonest life where I've demonized other people, where I've stood in judgment over other other people, where I've posted radio shows that hurt other people, that other people have said, take them down, and then they lie that they've got Revolution Radio's permission. I have not done anything disgusting and evil like that. So I can say, hey, I don't just go that way and get my memory wiped and come back down again, probably to cause even more pain to other people in reincarnation. I get to go with Jesus Christ, and I go that way, and I get saved, and I go on to have eternal life, and I meet other people that I've been on this earth with before, and I have a joyous time. I have a reunion, okay? And that is what I want. I don't want to impress Joe Bloggs there and Mary Ann over there and Sydney over there, and I'm so, oh, think I'm a good person. Oh, I want to earn lots of money. The only one thing I care about at this late stage in my life is pleasing Jesus Christ, okay? So I sat there in front of Jesus Christ, and I cried about this man, and I cried about my mother, and I said, Jesus Christ, I don't want evil anymore, because it scares me, and it's horrible, and it's nasty, and it makes me feel bad. And then I saw him there on the cross, dripping blood with nails stuck in, and I thought, well, who am I to say I don't want evil? I want a great life. I want my neighbor, it's not fair of me to say her name, but I want to live in a big house. I want to wear a nice dress. I want a really easy life. And then I'm looking there at Jesus Christ, who's got nails stuck in his feet and little whip marks, and I'm saying I want it easy. Well, it's not going to be easy, because it's in a really, really dark dimension, and there's a war going on, a really bad spiritual war going on. So if I do want a place, if I do want to be with Jesus Christ, then I have to do what I walked around the Stations of the Cross yesterday. I have to pick up my cross, and if I stumble, I have to pick up it again. And then if I walk on, and then I will get to be with him, because everybody that wants to be with him has to suffer, because that is what is going down here at the moment. And if you want to be joining in with it, if you want to be on the side of good, you will end up suffering. Now, it might be you might get sick. Now, it might be you might have the demonization. But whatever you go through, you will know suffering, because the more you know suffering, the closer you can feel to Jesus, the closer you can think, well, hang on, he got spat at. He got some nasty little trolls spitting at him and saying, yeah, you're a dirty, evil gutter, the gutters of your mind. I think they said, King of the Jews. So he got all that coming at him. St. Paul got all that coming at him. So who am I to say, hang on, I want to dress up in a pretty dress and I want to have tea parties. I don't want to know anything about evil. I don't want that shit coming down on me. I don't want to be demonized. I don't want that. I don't want spitting in my face. And the last thing I want is to die on the bloody cross like you. What right have I got to sit there and say that if I really want to be with him in the everlasting kingdom? If I want to be in the kingdom with the Creator, what right have I got to say I don't want to suffer? There's no right. You have to suffer. It's going to happen as shit's going to come down. And all you've got to do is know that you've got Jesus Christ on your side. All you've got to know is Jesus Christ came here. He did fight Satan. He did fight the evil demonic forces, and he got the key to the underworld. He has the key to all of it. And all we've got to do is stay close to Christ. Anyway, I'm looking here at the chat box. Somebody says, don't talk too much about trolls. I'm not talking. It's not even trolls. It's Simon. And Simon used to be a friend of mine, and Simon used to be a friend of Fiona's. But sadly, when Simon decides that someone doesn't like him, he attacks them. And actually, there was never any point where I didn't like Simon. I actually respect him as a writer. But he's decided he hates me, and he's going to get stuck in demonizing me. But I've had it all before from Mummy Dearest. So I just wanted to share with everybody how I realized that this is the journey here, and you can't expect to not be offended. You can't ever walk through life and expect to not be offended by this person or that person or the other, because it will come down. I mean, I had someone in Basis say to me, oh, I was really evil, and this same person that's hung this show, I was evil. I had the spirit of Jezebel, and I was doing, just a really bad person. And they were offensive, and I could hate them over it, but I don't. What's the point in that? What will happen to us? We will be offended by people, and you've got to just turn the other cheek to the offense. I mean, I didn't do right in my last show, the anger that I expressed. I'd rather had too much of it, but it was healthy anger. But I shouldn't have done that, because that person who is doing that, somebody who does persecute other people, has their own ICE prison to contend with. And I'm not helping them. I'm not being a good person if I rage at them and say all the things I did say to them. I believe I posted a picture of Lee Marvin on my Facebook and said, "This is me waiting for you." That's not right at the end of the day. I should have told him that I loved him, but I didn't have the energy to do that. So I'm trying to do it today. I do hope he finds his way. I do hope he finds a woman. He needs a woman to love him. And I do hope he sees that there are women that do move towards him, that do find him attractive, that do see his talents. My friend Liz actually writes to him, believe it or not. And Liz is a good woman, and Liz loves him, and Liz sees his pain. He didn't live with his original family. He was rejected by them, and he didn't carry their name. And later on, he went on to carry their name, and he felt rejected by them. So that is a massive pain he has to carry. Liz read his book. She was moved to tears by it and is his biggest fan and thinks he's an amazing writer. I haven't read his books, but certainly when I see his stuff online, he's an amazing writer, an amazing brain, and certainly more of a journalist than I am. I fluked into journalism. I went into it as a private investigator. I was trained as a private investigator. I did work for ex-army people, and I did work for ex-cops. I worked for everybody because I would get bored and dot around. And then I became a private investigator for the News of the World. And I thought, I don't want to do this. It's kind of dirty. And I moved into writing stories. So I haven't had legal training, haven't had the journalist schooling, but I worked alongside Miss Gill, worked alongside, I was lucky enough to work alongside Liam Clark of the Sunday Times. And I worked along Ian Edmondson, Neville Thalbach, and Chris Boffey, Ian Cobain from the Daily Mail. I worked along journalists for Peter Allen from the Daily Mail, and I learnt from them, and I learnt from boyfriends such as Mydrum Jones and Phil Hall. And I think I learned pretty well, and I think I am allowed to call myself a journalist. I've had plenty of bylines. So if I'm not a journalist, so be it. But I believe they have told me that I have every right to call myself a journalist, but I don't really call myself a journalist anymore. I was talking to my friend Anne Hardy, who is the mother of Tom Hardy, who's a Hollywood star, who said, "You're very lucky I'm friends with you. I'm not normally friends with journalists." And I'm like, "I'm not actually a journalist anymore." And she said, "Once a journalist, always a journalist." But actually I'm not, because I don't really value what they do, not really, especially if you look at mainstream journalism. It's all controlled by one puppet master. So everything you read in the papers, it's nearly always hurting people or shaming people, and it's not good. That's why I don't read the papers. So I guess if I was a journalist, there wouldn't be much of one. I don't read them. There's the alternative media, but how do we know what the hell is going on when there's so much darkness? So I look to people like Fritz Springmeier and other certain people that I feel, Mike Heiser, I feel in my gut know what's going on, and I pray and I try and keep Christ close, because it is a scary time and we don't know what's going on. And the last place we need to look is the daily newspapers. In fact, it's done to traumatize us. So that's why I don't read the newspapers, because normally there's one or two stories in there that are just, they're upsetting, and usually they're not even true. They're really, really, really unpleasant. So do I want to be a journalist? No, I don't. Do I want to be a book writer? No, I don't. Do I want to be an investigator? No, I don't. So I'm left on my honkers, sitting in that church, looking at Christ crucified and asking myself, what do I want to be? And I've got to this ripe old age, not knowing what the hell I want to be. But then you get people on their deathbed looking back at their lives thinking, I'm trying to make sense of this. So I'm trying to make sense of it now. And I realize what I want to be is what Christ wants me to be. And that entails praying every day. That entails meditating on Christ. He's the only light we've got here, really, who came here, who is our creator. We are his children, and we don't really have to do anything intellectual. We don't really have to pick up a sword and start fighting ourselves. We can be in that army as long as we keep in close contact with it, so we know what is going on. We don't know what's going on because it's damn sure not in the daily newspapers. It's damn sure not on the news. And anybody who thinks it is on the news, I feel sorry for them. I mean, people mocked me online. She didn't know about that. Was she been under a rock? No, actually, I haven't been under a rock. I've been on a mountaintop praying. If that's all right with you, okay? So we can't get our truth from the newspapers. So the only way we're going to get the truth is by going up on a mountaintop and praying and saying, Jesus, please come to me. There's confusion here. It's really dark. I want to know what's going on, and keeping Christ close. Because if you look at the figure on the crucifix, what is going on? He was murdered when he came here. Doesn't that tell you what kind of place this is? Our Father, our creator, came into a human body, and he wasn't made into a king. He was murdered. He was murdered. He was murdered in a really nasty way, and he was demonized in a really nasty way. And that's what happens. And that can tell you that we're not in a great place. There's no point saying, well, it was a long time ago. It's what's going on now. They're actually crucifying young men. ISIS are out crucifying young men, cutting their heads off, leaving them in dustbins. It's the same thing going on today. The same war, the same enemy, the same dark enemy. And I always thought I had to really see that enemy, because I'd been absolutely splattered by the enemy when I was a kid, completely splattered. I thought, I'm going to have to know my enemy. Same as Chris Berry D. No doubt I think he had a really tough childhood. Same with other people who do this same thing. Oh, I have to know my enemy, and then I can fight them. Well, we don't have to. We really cannot see evil. And somebody told me that a long time ago. They said, wow, you really waste years and years and years, and we're told not to look at evil because we can't actually ever grasp it. It's a complete mystery, and it's beyond us. And I was like, no, sorry, but I can, because I know where to look. I can see how it's used certain people, certain terrorist leaders or certain serial killers. It's hosted on them. I can go along to them and I can scratch at them, and they can tell me. Or if they can't tell me, I can psychometrize them. I can find out, because I'm powerful. And really, it was all ego. It was all wanting to find out, then write a book and say, this is what's going on, everybody, and have everyone hail me as a bloody hero. But it was never, ever, ever going to happen, because there's plenty of better people than me who have been doing it, such as Father Malachi Martin, who's tirelessly working. And even though I'd read his books, I still thought, oh, well, poor sod, he couldn't do it, but he wasn't going about it the right way. I can. But I can't. Of course I can't. I can't do it. Not at all. I'm completely powerless. And when I sat in the church yesterday and I wept, it was good to feel powerless. It was good to feel like I was old, but I'm a little child. It was good to feel I had a parent taking care of me and who is going to look after me. And the only thing I have to do is speak to that parent every single day. I speak to that parent every single day and I say, I don't know what's going on here. It's dark here. I need help to help others. What can I do? And I ask that every single day, and I pray every single day, and then I will be given guidance, and then I will be given spiritual protection. And then when I'm attacked or called this, that, and the other, the same as Jesus Christ, I will say, this is a blessing, because it's walking the same path as Jesus did here. This will lead to a good, beneficial future in the afterlife for me. I will be with Jesus Christ if I walk the way of Christ. And so you're covered in a spiritual protection, because each and every one of us has a father. It's the same Father. Even those that have chosen to go the dark way, probably because they've been battered and hurt and they've decided, well, hang on, that's the one with all the power. I'm going to go on this team. And they're actually completely misguided because it's not the one with all the power. It's actually a lie. It's actually a deception. The satanic forces, the Luciferian forces hasn't, the Nakash has not got the power. It might be wrapped around the earth at the moment. It might be squeezing really tight. This might be a really, really dark time when Satan has its season and all around people are suffering really badly. All around there's young men being crucified. There's all the pain, the just the utter misery. But the kingdom of God has already won. This is just something we have to live through, and we can be safe from what is going on by keeping as close as we can to the Christ body, by being protected by the Christ body, that even if someone is coming towards us to kill us, we will be protected. We will not feel that pain. We will be in Christ and we will be protected by the benevolent ones who will come down and save us at that point of suffering. I have an amazing painting, and it's the martyrs in with the lions, and they're actually just about to be eaten by the lions, and there's angels flocking down to save them, to come into their bodies at the moment of pain and to release them up to be with Jesus Christ in the heavens. And it's an amazing painting, and I don't know what it is, but I'm sure some of my listeners will know what it is. Right, so I haven't got a producer, but we're coming back. We're coming up to the break. And oh, here's my producer. Okay, he's here now. So he's telling me if I want to drop this show during the break, he'll grab it and pull me in. So it's 11:53. I've got 7 minutes to bring Patrick in. So what I'll do, I'll wait for the music, and then I'll bring in my producer, because I feel good if Patrick is there holding my hand to have the show. I'm sorry if the show has been boring. I'm sorry that I didn't have my guest that was promised, but I am changing tack with the show. It's going to be guests like Fritz Springmeier, guests like Michael Heiser, guests like Stephen Gregg, and these are the people I'm going to stick to. I made a really bad mistake, and I'm going to learn by that mistake, and I am going to professional up. And there's going to be a website, there's going to be my books on there, there's going to be, you can see the connections to my publishers, top publishers. Hodder and Stoughton and Random House are the best, and there's going to be links to my byline stories with the Sunday Times, every single one of them. And I saw Tracy Chevron, who I used to work with, on the Sunday Mirror, and I said, "There's no links to our old stuff, is there?" And she said, "No, it's not, because it was, too many years ago." And she was like, "God, it's like another lifetime." And I said, "Well, I've kept all mine, every single story. I've kept it all, kept them all, and they're in boxes." And she said, "Scan them all in." And I'm like, "Oh yeah." So they're going to be scanned in. They're going to be on a website for everyone to see. I do need to professionalize up myself, because I have done this. I have worked on Fleet Street. I have published with decent publishers, and because I don't have a website and because it's not on View, then nobody can see it. And I might as well just be like Joe Bloggs over there, who has just got a radio show. And, I'm not knocking them, but I have done these things. I have lived a certain life where I have got experiences that I can share with people and I can help them. And so I want a website where they can look and they can see my credentials, my experience, and that I have lived a certain life and I have lived in a certain way, that I have got experience that I can share, and I can't be knocked down so easily. If you don't have these boundaries, then you can get someone that can come along and say, "Well, hey, you didn't work for the Sunday Times, you liar. You don't know Nick Davies, you liar." And that's another thing which I'll be putting on my website, which is a link to the whole time I knew Nick Davies, and I know he won't mind because he's a good guy. I can put his stuff, his correspondence with me, his contract with me when I work for The Guardian, and that can all go on the website as well. So I can't be knocked down easily. And again, that's armoring up, okay? That's armoring up with spiritual armor, because the dark side will come in. If you're trying to do something good, if you're trying to do something light, these beings, whatever they are, do you know, and I don't care anymore. And it was my lifelong obsession to see the face of them and say, I gotcha. Do you know what? I don't care anymore. All I know is they're the enemy, okay? We're going to break, so I hope you'll join me in the second half where I'll be with my producer, Patrick English. Thank you.
Listen to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. And we'll be right back after this message. Thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio. Here at Revolution Radio, we believe in freedom of ideas, freedom of speech, but above all, we believe in freedom of existence through self-reliance. This station is 100% listener-supported, and as a fundraising promotion, I have a kick-ass free gift for a $100 donation. 35,000 seeds. 25 years in the freezer. Long-term storable, 54 different varieties. So if food prices go crazy, the shit hits the fan, or if you just want to save tons of money every year by creating your own food like I do, grab our seed pack special. Just look for the banner on the homepage at freedomslips.com. Don't be a statistic. Don't be part of the problem. Be part of the solution. We need, as humans, to start taking care of ourselves and not depending on the megacorps to provide unhealthy, nasty food. Included in this package is also a DVD with 900 survival and off-grid living documents and the offline home canning how to do everything website all on the DVD. So when you're growing all that food, you know how to can it, store it, preserve it, etc. with all these documents. So thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. I hope that you will pick up this package and start learning to be free. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, where information never sleeps and freedom is one seed that needs to be planted.
What we do in life, it goes in eternity.
Hi, I'm back on air. It's Christine Joanna Hart Show, and we've got some comments. We've got some comments from the listeners in the chat room. So I'm just going to read them out, and I think Jerry wants to join us. My producer is with me now. Where are we? Okay, someone is saying here, someone's saying about my stolen pirated show, Revolution Radio may have given their permission, but they can't give permission for you. Exactly. I don't think it's something that the Hawk would do, actually. I really don't. So it's just not true. Keep your show about stuff you feel important, the information, discovering the good, honest people. You have such an important message that can help so many others who are suffering or feeling trapped. Your trolls can't get to you with truth, so they just make up stuff. The trolls are the fantasists, but they're projecting. Oh, is that what they're doing? I don't know. Whatever it is, it doesn't feel nice. Well done. Great message. Your honesty is valuable. Really well done, Chris. That's so nice. And Samantha, people who say awful things about others are really hurting deep inside. Bullies are awful, but they're actually really scarred themselves. That's what bitterness is. Yeah, I know. So thank you there for the people who are sharing. And thank you. I've got cheering on at the side from Olivia Makepeace, who is complete light to me, giving me just invaluable help and was with me yesterday when I was going through a dark time yesterday due to, again, what has occurred recently. So, okay, it's too late starting to show. So, oh, do you want Jerry to come on? Patrick, are you there? Patrick, in the Blue Bayou. How are you this morning, Patrick?
Hello.
How are you this
Can you
morning?
hear me?
Yeah, I can. Have you just
Okay.
woken up, Patrick?
Yeah, I'm just getting going. I'm trying to put numbers in, and I'd like to know who Jerry is so I can grab him, and then I'm putting numbers in so people can call if they like.
Oh, thank you. Well, yeah, I welcome callers. Gerber, he
That
is
that Jerry. Yeah, I can grab him.
okay. Grab him in. We'll have a chat.
Here we go. There he is. Instant. Jer?
He's in Las Vegas. I'm so
Yeah,
jealous.
but he shouldn't have dropped off like that.
Has he dropped off?
Yeah.
He's saying, "Hold on." Okay.
Okay. Because
I know he's friends with Lorelei Sorlem, isn't he? Gerber. Yeah, he's got you. He's got you. Have you got him? He's saying who he is. Are you there, Jerry?
no,
Gerber? Are you there?
let me grab him again.
He keeps saying, "Hold on." He's out in Las Vegas. I'm so jealous because
Doesn't
he's not ready at the time. Okay, Jerry, will you tell us when you're ready, and you tell Patrick because he's producing. So Patrick, look out for when he texts you that he's
I got him on right now.
really.
Yeah, I see his face. He's not talking. Maybe he's muted. Let's see. He might be feeding Boo Boo, his dog, or something.
He's friends with Lorelei Solomon. I remember when she used to produce for me. They chatted quite a lot.
I don't know why that ringing noise is going on.
Nor do I. Well, this is boring for the listeners, Patrick, isn't it? I'm going to read out a book. I was looking at
up so it doesn't ringing like
okay.
that.
Okay, well, we'll just have a break and talk between ourselves, Patrick. I'll talk to the listeners. I was going to read out a book. I was going to read out parts of the Bible about.
Hello.
Oh, Jerry, you're there. Hi. Hi, Jerry. How are you?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes. How are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. All right. I don't know where that ringing's coming from. Let me see. My bad. Yeah, I wasn't set up.
Oh, you weren't. So you're out in Vegas.
Wait. I'll be right. Call me back in.
Okay, he's gone.
I see this. I'm.
This is really boring for everybody. What? Yeah, okay. What I was going to do is I was going to read.
I hate this.
Oh, you're back again?
Yeah, no.
Oh,
He's
don't
gone
worry.
now. So let me.
That's okay, Patrick. Would you know what I'm going to read?
Okay, please do.
I'm going to read because what I've been doing in my life, I've been spending so long, bizarrely, and it is bizarrely, I've been spending so long looking.
Hello, I'm back.
Oh, it's back. Okay. Jerry, you're back.
Tuner on, and I wasn't. Hi, Pat. Hi,
Hey,
Christine.
Chair.
Hi there.
I was just messaging you from the chat room earlier because we didn't know if you had a guest on, and I was flirting around and came back into chat, and everybody was wanting to know who you were. We wouldn't know, so I figured it out. I posted, and then I messaged you, and I asked you to come on the roundtable about a week ago, and you said your son wouldn't allow it. You had to scoot, go get some air. Remember?
Yeah. Yeah, so you wanted to go out.
Yeah. But anyway, and then I did Dory's show just earlier, and I put everything away, my mic and stuff, and that's why it took me a minute to say, hold on, I'm coming. Just give me a
Oh
minute.
yeah, cool. Do you want to comment and join in with what we were talking about?
Yeah, go ahead. I was in another area, but fill me in, and I'll stick around with you. Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. Well, I was just sharing with the audience that I spent my life as a journalist and an investigator and a author with examining the forces of darkness, and I really thought I was going to get them nailed down, like no, I mean literally nailed down. I so arrogant, really. I thought I was gonna, yeah, sort of get control and be hailed as a hero, and oh look at that, and also conquer the demons of my past that were still there inside me. That scared little girl of my mother, who was hosting. They were very close to the Vatican. My adoptive father's sister was a nun, and she knew she was very close. She was always going to Rome. I mean, she was a very senior, well-respected nun, and I had all that, which is it's pretty dark, as all of us know, and so I had that sort of demonic attack in my childhood. So that kind of energy, there was a little part of me that was always scared of it, and growing up, because I knew about it, I always thought I was going to go and get it under control, get it under
Go challenge
manners.
it. Go challenge it.
Yeah, go challenge it and find out all about it and sort of fight it and sort of wipe it out. I mean, gosh, I mean, it's such a childish.
So, can I ask you something? When you became a journalist, did you work for a newspaper or a corporation as a
Yeah, sadly, I worked for News Corps, and I got in through being an investigator, and then started working as a journalist because I worked alongside them. So it was News of the World and the Sunday Mirror and the Daily Mail and then the Sunday Times.
Did you ever investigate and have a story that the corporation would not allow because it affiliated with them?
Well, yeah, there was loads of stuff. There was one where we found salmon. Well, there was a report. Somebody said there was salmonella. Somebody working in a chocolate factory of a famous chocolate company, and there was salmonella all over the factory. And one of the workers said how it was disgusting. And I actually got proof, and I got proof by ringing up one of the directors as somebody in their lab, and literally this guy was talking about it, and I got it on tape, and the editor was like, no, you can't get it that way. And I said, well, literally they need to recall the chocolate that has gone out, because kids are eating it, and adults too are eating it, and it can really damage them. What?
Did they get that out so that at least protect the innocent?
Nope.
Wow. See, you know what? The other night with Hazard from Australia, my riding shotgun with me, he had an Australian lady come in, and it sounded the same kind of story, which she was texting in her car in Australia and got pulled over for it. And she ended up doing time. But she talked about being a journalist, and that now she's like doing her own thing like you, and doesn't rely on, because everything that she was investigating, they would knock off. So I welcomed her to the show, and I said, well, that's one thing that's beautiful about Revolution Radio. And so that you guys are very similar. It's just coincidence, I don't know, but I'm here with you guys. And is my fan bothering you guys?
No, but I'm jealous that you're somewhere where it's really hot. You're in Vegas. Are you in Vegas?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm so jealous. When I went there, the people are just gorgeous, aren't they? They're so soft. Vegas.
I've been here since '77 from California, so the last few years I've been introverted because of my health and my situation, but I conquered it, and I'm more introverted. I don't like to go down to the strip unless, I have some company and have to go play tourist. But yeah, it's just a regular city to me, But we have had the most beautiful weather lately. I didn't turn on my heater or my air conditioner for the last almost 3 months, 2.5 months.
Oh,
And
right.
so April and May are the most beautiful times to visit here, weather-wise. Over.
Oh, excellent. My friend lives there in a trailer park, and Kathy, who's the sister of, and I haven't seen her for a sister of my ex-flatmate from Los Angeles, Lucian, and we went there, and it was also Lucian paid for us to stay in one of the hotels out there, and it's just awesome, isn't it? I woke up and it was like she didn't want to. We slept in the same room, and she was like, "Oh, draw the blinds, going to wake me up." And I'm like, "You're kidding, aren't you?" Because this hotel had a view of the desert, and it was like awesome. You coming from somewhere like England where we've just got boring green all the time, and to go there and just wake up with the desert. Oh, it's awesome. And we drove from Los Angeles in Lucian's Porsche. She had a purple Porsche.
Ooh!
Yeah, I know, with the roof down where we were like younger, and just driving through the desert, and then you see Vegas, and all you see is that pyramid with the light. I mean, it's like, wow.
Did you come in at night or day?
Night.
Yeah. I used to, years ago, I'd come in over state line, coming back into Vegas at night. And then all of a sudden you got a few miles in and you come over a hill and it just lights up. And every time I'd take a trip to Cal, it just would grow and it just was humongous. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's grown, isn't it? I haven't been back there or back to LA. I lived in LA, and oh God, the beaches there and Malibu Beach, and
So awesome there too.
it is. Gosh, I'd do anything to go back there, but oh well. Oh well, I'm just jealous.
When was what was the year you came?
Oh gosh,
Last
well, I lived out there for a couple of years, and that was around, when was it? Oh God, it was 90s. It was in the 90s.
Yeah.
That long ago, and time really flies, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. That's in 1989 when Steve Wynn took a property right by Caesars and developed the Mirage.
Hmm.
Bam! This town went like from a couple hundred. Well, when I first got here, this whole community was about 180,000, and then '89 the boom started, and it went up to like 2.9 million in like by 2000.
Wow.
Yeah, it grew fast.
So what's it like now?
Well, it's the economy is still, I feel, struggling. The buffets are expensive now. It used to be a dime a minute. They're all expensive. Um, it's still a good place to come if you've got you want to come see some shows and play tourist. It's still a good destination to enjoy.
Hmm. What I like is the people. I'm crazy about Americans, and I just love them. I love the way their minds are so open, isn't it? Like their minds are open. Here, we're a little bit more where it's sort of streamlined mindset. It's all about, it's we've been shut down where a lot of it is about money and the class system and what you've got and keeping up with the Joneses. But when you go to America, especially, like Vegas and LA, the people, their minds are so open. They're really questioning life, aren't they?
Well, I'm questioning my government.
But you're
Uh,
questioning life too. I bet that, they look at spirituality and they look at, I mean, I remember being in LA and passing a poster and it said, did you have a bad dream last night? Come to the Dream Factory. And you'd never get that in England. I mean, even now, like 15 years after, you wouldn't ever have any of that kind of stuff here. Our minds are very, like, they have to be like narrow. We're not allowed to sort of be very big in that consciousness way, you know?
yes. Yeah, it's. I have a message for you, Christine. That Pale Rider, very good. He's a teamer. He helps me a lot, and he in chat. I love him a lot. He's out of Wisconsin, I think. But he says, Jerбел, tell her I put the link into the Christian Martyrs Last Prayer and Chant. She referenced her painting but couldn't remember the name. And I just dropped the link for you in below us in Skype for you to check, Christine, if you want to do that. Okay.
Oh, really? Where is it?
It's right there in our chat room. I'm right below us.
I don't know how to get into chat. Patrick.
No. What he means is in the bottom of the window, the Skype window, there is the text. The text part of the bottom of the Skype window. Do you see it? You see?
Oh.
If you put your mouse up there to the bottom of the black area and go to the right, it'll say open instant message or hide instant message. Click that if you don't see it, and then you'll see the link.
Yeah, it's the instant message part is what you want.
Can you see what we're talking about?
Yeah, I've got
it's where you hang up. It's where you hang up the mic. That's the toolbar all the way to the right. There you go, honey.
I've clicked on it, and is that it?
You see stuff now?
Yeah. Oh, that's not the painting that I've got. That's a different one. That is a different one. That's the one that looks like the Colosseum with the martyrs, and there's a lion coming out to him. This one I've got, which is my old friend. He was an ex-Panorama BBC producer, Hugh Burnett, and he did a whole series for the BBC called Heaven and Hell. And one day he came out with a suitcase, an old battered green suitcase, and he said, Chris, look at this old junk, but I bet you'll lap it up. And I opened it and I was like, oh my God, there was all these prints of great art, and some was the dark side and the others was the light side. And it's awesome, like really old stuff that he took from a museum and he didn't give back, which is kind of naughty, but it was like, gosh, 100 years ago, because he was like really, really old. He died in 2011. And one of the prints was of a painting, literally where it's quite bloody. There's the martyrs on the ground, and the lions, there's quite a few lions around them. And this flock of angels is just descending from the sky. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. It's so disturbing, actually, kind of. Really.
Well, the print that the Pale Rider just clicked on, showing the lion looking, you can see the crucifixions, and then you see that little huddle of, I guess that's the martyrs.
Yeah.
I see.
This is different. I wonder what it was, but I wonder which one it was. Maybe somebody who's listening will remember that, or I'll research it. I'll try and research it after the show. So what do you do spiritually, Jerry? Do you pray each day, or?
I just kind of thank my creator within that. When I get bummed out, I kind of snap out of it and say, hey, stop it. You've got a lot of things to be thankful for. I don't go to any church or anything. When I really need to have an experiential experience, I take a drive up the road, and I get on this place. I can't remember the little name of it, but it's a little community that has a bunch of A-frame cabins, and they live off the grid with solar and stuff. And I go past that, and I get up on this hill, and I can look to the east, and I can see for miles and miles. And that's where I talk to the gods, or my parents, or anybody that's on my mind from that's passed away. Is how I like to do it.
That's good, isn't it? To bring in nature to it, to bring in just feeling that. I mean, I like to walk barefoot and pray and just really see. And you can see how the creator is like a really beautiful artist and a painter, and just look around and see all the natural beauty. I mean, and there's so many beautiful spots, isn't there? I mean, the desert itself is kind of gorgeous, I think.
Yeah, it has. See, well, everyone goes, Jer, all my friends from California over the years, Jer, when are you going to get out of the cement jungle? Because it does become you get entrapped with working and your procedures of your normal life. And, you know, just to take off and go fishing up in northern eastern Nevada, you get up there and realize, man, this is so nice to be up in nature fishing. I haven't done that in a while, and it's very good for the spirits to go. Because I always call myself Mother Nature's son. You know, that song is a Beatles song. If you look on the White Album, Mother Nature's Son. It's by Paul McCartney. But I've always loved being out with nature, and it's something that, you know, you could it just gets by you, and you got to recall it, you know.
Yeah.
Which I'm due big time, Christy.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's yeah, same here, you know. I mean, I haven't heard that song on the White Album, but interestingly, you know, John Lennon went through the therapy I was talking about earlier, the primal therapy in Los Angeles. He went there, and he underwent it with Arthur Janoff, and then he I think it was the White Album that he wrote after, actually. I think pretty sure it is. Maybe I got that wrong, but I think it was the White Album came out of that.
Well, can you get a little more specific? I might help you recall that. I was multitasking. I wasn't listening quite clearly.
Oh, right. John Lennon went to the Primal Institute, which is based in Los Angeles, and he did the primal therapy, which is written about in Arthur Janoff's book called The Primal Scream. I believe it's been updated now, so you've got the new Primal Scream. And Lennon went out to the same place as I went out and underwent that therapy. And then after he had undergone it, he produced the White Album. Or it might be a different album. I thought it was a White Album.
I'm going to Google John Lennon and Primal
Therapy, Janov.
Okay, hang on.
I mean, it might not be out there that he was at the Institute.
Come on. John Lennon and
Primal Institute Janov, Janov.
PRI.
Oh, Primal, PRIM for mother, AL.
Oh, primary school, primal.
I mean, it might not be out there, Jerry.
Well, we'll see. Primal Institute, and I'll just put IN and see what it does. Primal Scream about John Leonard. Primal Center, is that it?
I don't know.
Let's see. John Lennon and the Primal Therapy, a new book on the Beatles and primal therapy, interview with John Lennon about the primal therapy.
Oh, right. Cool. What does he say about it?
It says, John's primal therapy sessions with Arthur Janoff in 1970 were the crucial catalyst in Lennon's most emotionally bare album, John Lennon's Plastic Ono Band. This page includes an interview with Jano together with Lennon's own recollections, plus a revealing insight into the therapy sessions by Pauline Lennon. I'll give you the link. I'll share the link with you right now.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you can take over. Okay, it should be there for you to click, and then I'll give it to the chat room for us. And,
excellent. Because the primal therapy is just amazing. What they do, they go in and they remother you. Obviously, nobody going there has been mothered properly, and it really helps with like drug addicts, heroin addicts, or anybody that's closed down and is not, leading a proper life. And what it does, it strips down your defenses, because you get remothered. So you get a therapist who takes you into a room and remothers you for like months on end, and is literally completely on your side, which is what you should get from a mother. But obviously many of us haven't got or haven't had. And then what they do, they bring about a transference on that particular therapist, where you do all your old needs that haven't been met gets transferred on the therapist, and then they bring you out to group therapy after a couple of months, and you're basically sat there with people that when you share, everybody has a chance to share, and you can get people who can criticize you or attack you or say all sorts of really nasty stuff, a little bit like the trolling, and you have to deal with it, basically feel it. And if you feel like crying or screaming, that's what you do. And there's all this, untruths come out about how everybody, it's like chaos, but it's not chaos, because if somebody is brought to tears over something, then everyone shuts up as they cry and listens to them cry. And if they want to cry
Because
softly,
those tears are healing him.
yeah, and also, if you hear people, often they cry like children, and it triggers your own. It's quite hard to listen to someone howling like a child over something and to not feel it deep in your own tummy, especially when you've just been remothered. So they bring you back almost to the childlike state. And so then you're in a sort of tender, raw state, and then someone's screaming beside you triggers you.
Do you feel? Oh, I feel when, when most people, adults I've been around that tear, I call it, or they're not tearing because they're have in a childish behavior mindset. They're tearing because something inside them. It's their. I call it. I call it that you like if when my father died, I couldn't get back home for his funeral, and it took like 6 years for I finally, and I only lived 500 something miles away. I just too busy. I couldn't get it there. And when I finally got to the gravesite and I sat down there and had, what would you call it, closure, I had closure finally with him, that I was tearing, and I realized I was tearing because it was healing the lostness or the time being gone away, and not and asked, forgiving myself that I didn't make it, and they knew, but I was tearing and healing. I feel when we tear as adults, not like crybaby attitude, someone that can't get their way or reason,
Oh yeah,
they
yeah.
start crying and throw a fit. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
That's
this is like, because in the big room you have loads of people, you kind of get called out on lots of things, and it triggers you, or then you end up screaming at the other person. It's kind of
So
brutal.
they do it deliberately to break you out, right?
Yeah,
I
they
copy.
break you out. Yeah, exactly. Well said, Jerry. They break you out. You literally, from becoming isolated within, with shut down with your feelings, and a lot of people medicate with drugs and stuff. They break you out. They bust you out, and literally you do come out, and you feel like a new person. It's almost like you're like you discover what flowers you like, and you literally, a new person
Open
is
up.
born. It's amazing.
Because that's important. And you know where that starts, even if you don't even go there with any therapy. I feel it starts that you have to forgive yourself. You
Yeah.
forgive yourself, and then anybody because we've hurt a lot of people, okay? As individuals, we've hurt people not deliberately, and we've been hurt. And people that have hurt me, whether it's ex-friends or whatever, I forgive them. I might not associate with them anymore, but I forgive them, and I've asked for forgiveness within myself. And that really helps me to be a better person, with community and humanity and anybody that's anybody. Do I make sense?
Oh yes, really. Well, yeah, we have. It's almost like those Al-Anon groups and stuff like that, where you go along and you kind of say sorry, and it brings you to the realization of. I mean, I had a thing in primal therapy of people, like other girls would say, "Oh, meet me somewhere," and often I wouldn't show up, and it was because I thought I was so worthless. It was like, oh, I don't feel like going, and anyway, they won't miss me, and I would literally hurt people because of my low self-esteem, and you kind of wake up to things like that if you have been damaged, then you're going to hurt other people, even though you think you're not. You are going to
So,
hurt them.
did you actually attend that primal system school?
Yes, I
Or
did. Yes, I
I
went
see.
out there. I was blessed that I came across. It was odd. There was one day I went to the library, and it was like an inner instinct said, you're here to find a book. And I went to the library, and then I was looking in the shelves, and I went to leave, and it was like something inside me that said, no, you haven't got what you came here for. And it almost felt it dragging me back, and I literally was quite irritated because I wanted to go home, and I just thought, okay, guide me to it. And literally I let myself go, and it guided me straight to the primal theme, I can't say it, Primal Scream by Arthur Janoff. I took it straight off the shelf. I said, "Right, happy now?" And I checked it out, and I went home. I thought, what the hell is it anyway? And I read it. And on that day, I rang the Primal Institute, and I said, I want to book in. And I didn't even have the money. You have to have $5,000 up front to pay them, and then you do the 3 months, and then after that you pay each time to come along to group. And I barely had anything, but the money, I think it was the newspaper that were following me, was interested in something I'd done, and said, can you sell us a story? So I sold a story, and next thing I had some money to do the therapy, and it literally saved my life. It's an amazing therapy, you know.
How long ago did you actually go to that?
Well, that was in the 90s that I did it.
Okay,
But
I got you.
I still keep in contact with Barry Bernfeld, and if I could go back and carry on doing it, then I would, because it makes you open. Literally, you're like a flower, opening and opening until you're just totally open. It just drains off all the old pain.
Sheds all your bad petals. Your flower petals.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I was in my 20s, I used to have to, every Friday or every Saturday, I used to have to go out and get drunk. And I called it, well, letting off steam.
You weren't
And
alone, Chris.
yeah, and I always had boyfriends who were like the same. And literally, I remember like, oh, it's Friday night. Oh, I hit the pub. And you just feel like, you know, glugging down the lager. But after primal therapy, I don't ever need to do that. I mean, I just never drink. And if I do drink, it's just for the taste, and I'll just have
More
like one
social,
glass.
more social. You don't catch a buzz. You don't go into another. Well, let me ask you this: if you came back in L.A., you could go to that place and be accepted as a former student, or would they let you in there to check it out and check it in and just say, hey, I'm just here to see what's up? Or would they?
Oh yeah, of course. You can go along, and I'm sure you can go along and talk to Barry and just talk about going there. I mean, Janoff has a certain he has an institute, and then Barry Bernfeld, who trained under Janoff, has another institute. And I actually, through not working, I don't know, it was the internet or not ringing the right number, I applied to. When I wanted to go under Janoff, I actually rang Barry Bernfeld's institute, and I was sitting there chatting to Barry Bernfeld, and I said, yeah, the thing is, well, when I meet Arthur Janoff, and he went, oh, whoa, hang on. He said, you're not going to meet Janoff here. He said, this is a split off from the other Primal Institute. And I went, oh, and I went to get up, and he said, you're at the wrong place. And I said, I am at the wrong place. And I thought, hang on, this guy who I've been sitting with, the intuition came to me that he was really, really good. And he had already said to me when we've been talking, you can't have me. He said, because I'm booked up. He said, but you'll get somebody else. So what I did, I said to him, if I'll either go off to Arthur Janoff's place and go there, and I'm a journalist and I'm going to write about this, and you'll benefit from it, or you let me have you as a therapist, and then I'll stay here. And he said, I'll have to think about that because I've got no space. So I went home. Well, I went to this place in Hollywood where I was living, and he rang and he said, consider yourself on my books. He said, I'm your therapist. And he started off by saying, and how are you feeling? And of course I was so anti-feelings. I was like, how are you feeling? And he said to me, right, I want you to go along and see Meg Ryan in that film. She was in some film where she played an alcoholic, and not that I'm an alcoholic. He said, go along and see a Weepy, which was that particular film, and see how it makes you feel. And so when I went along to meet him for my first therapy session, he said, what did you think of the film? And I was like shit. And I went in there like really hard, and gradually over months, he reduced me to mush, literally mush. And it's weird how it happened.
Like you were so broke
Brittle.
down that, very, very fragile, correct?
Well, when I went there, I was brittle and defended. And then when you're a defended type of person, it makes you a bit off with other people because you're defensive with them and your relationships aren't that great because you're always thinking, well, I'm going to defend. I'm not going to let that person in. They're going to hurt me. And you become like a brittle individual. And I was, I guess, well, I didn't realize it. I was obviously very defended. And what Barry does and what people like him do in the Institute, they get you in this dark little dimly lit room and they get you to talk about your life and they remother you. They get really soft with you. And at first you
That's what I
kind
was
of
wondering.
resist. Yeah.
That's when you said I was mush. I didn't quite
Oh,
understand
yeah,
that.
yeah. They get through, literally they kind of find little, they're trained to find little holes they can crawl through and then they get at you. And I remember when I realized I'd been got, and it was one time when I was out with my flatmate Lucian and we were doing this thing where we were dressed up as mermaids, doing this promotion thing. And literally I felt as if someone had punched me really hard in the stomach and I literally doubled over. And she said, what's the matter? And I started crying. And she said, what is it? She said, I just really love him. And she went, who, our neighbor? And I'm like, no, Barry. And it just makes you like fall in love with them. And then when they get you like that, and it's all what Janoff's research has done, they get you like that, they put you in a big circle with all the others, and then you get you get a rough ride. But what it does, it drags it all out, all that past pain, it just gets rid of it and all your defenses are broken, and it's powerful, but it works. It definitely, it's not a joke.
Does his therapy take you back to maybe before you were like 3 or 4 years old, where there could have been something at that state of your life that is creating the problem within before you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it does. But what happens? They don't do it. What happens when you sit in the circle and you're sharing stuff, other people coming in and attacking you or calling you out for this, that, and the other, it triggers you and it gets, so what happens? It does it naturally. It happens naturally. So you kind of do it to yourself.
Did you, when you were in that circle, so are you all in that circle questioning each other's mindset to help each other break that?
Yeah, it breaks down. Like a man might be sharing something really soft, and then another man might say, you sound like a little girl. You sure you're not gay? Maybe that's your problem,
I
and then
copy.
the guy will like, whoa, and then it will sort of, either sort of, it's brutal. It's really brutal. Or somebody
you testing me, my masculinity, my friend?
Yeah, that kind of thing. Or someone might share about child sexually abuse, and if somebody says something, oh, you're lying, which it triggers me if someone says that. That's what my troll is saying to me. And then somebody opposite might say, you're lying about that. Your father was a good man. And of course, then it brings out all the pain and the anger. And then you're encouraged to stand up and bang the walls to get to the anger. And when you get to the anger, of course, that gets rid of something. And then that gets rid of all the old stuff in you that blocks us off from having a good life, that blocks us off from having a good day and living in the moment, because we're literally trapped by the past.
There you go. That's very, very, very well said, Christine. That's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I'd like to be able to do it myself, actually, primal therapy. I mean, it's Barry is phenomenal. I mean, he really is. He really is. He's good. And I did have the grace from God to be able to fulfill my promise that I wrote about him in my book, Searching for Daddy, and then send him a copy. And it was, published by a good publisher. It was a hardback book. And I, said to Barry, thanks so much for everything you did. And I was so glad and grateful that I could do that to him, and for him. And hopefully people can read it or hopefully people that have read it. It's out of print now, my book, but people that have read it, and I know people that have been interested in primal therapy through reading it, and he's phenomenal. I've got a life because because of Barry. I got my life back that was taken from me.
Yeah. Now, how old would you say that Dr. Janoff is now?
Well, Janov's really old. And ended up having a conversation with Arthur Janov, and I talked about Barry, but I mean, Barry is old now. I mean, they're getting on. They're passing down their knowledge now.
Right. Like Dr. Janov was Barry's mentor, and now
Yeah.
Barry has kind of like took over the. Yeah, they're like now they probably have someone else to step up when he's ready to set it down and let it be.
Yeah, and I still keep in contact with people that were at the institute. I mean, I was very good friends with a gay guy called Tom, and we're now Facebook friends. And he was a bit put off that Janov does treat being gay as a neurosis, and he does he does try and deal with that as if it's a neurosis, and it is to do with lack of fathering or lack of mothering. So Tom wasn't all that keen about that. He says the one thing I don't like is about Arthur is this says, but you don't have to take everyone and swallow them whole. I mean, Tom still goes back to he does retreats. They have retreats in Santa Barbara. So he flies from Canada to do a retreat, I think once a year. And so he keeps in touch that way. But I don't. And Tom, I mean, is beautiful, beautiful guy. He's now a professor at university teaching art. I mean, he has an amazing life. So he's been given his life.
I got a question. Maybe you can help me answer. I've always, when we talk about someone being gay, a friend says, "Well, is it hereditary or is it brought into your mindset as a very young, very young infant, or something that occurred to you, maybe sexual abuse?" I don't know. Do you have any idea about that? Would it be hereditary? Yeah, it's.
I don't know. I think some people are different charges in different bodies, aren't they? Like sometimes people can be born in a wrong body, or sometimes it can be about not getting enough touch from a certain parent. Well, Janov kind of deals with it in that way. I mean, I don't know.
Well, it makes sense. You might have you might have more chromosomes for male. Yeah. There you go. So it might not be hereditary, but it's chemistry of your DNA or your chromosomes build up.
Something like that. I remember my strongest memory of primal therapy is being with a German guy called Dieter, and we were great friends. And he told a really sad story of his father gave him a watch one day for Christmas. I think he was about 7, and he got a watch, and his father got a watch, and they were matching watches. And his father broke his accidentally, and he said, "Oh, I've broke mine, give me yours." And it just broke his heart, and he shared the story. And then instead of crying, he jumped up and he started banging the walls really, really hard and sort of ranting in a German accent. It was like really shocking. And then when he realized that everyone was absolutely terrified, he went to the room next door and started banging on the walls. They have padded walls in there that are sort of bang friendly. Right. And he was banging so hard and ranting really hard with his anger that the whole building was shaking, and then you heard him crying afterwards. I mean, it's really
do you think he was raised as a very spoiled child?
Who, Dieter?
The person that was banging the wall. Because say if you're so spoiled and you don't get the way you want.
Oh, no. I think that his father, as we all abuse his privacy, I think that I'm sure he won't mind. It was years ago, and I'm not giving out his second name. But I think that his father ignored him, and his father was a businessman, and it was just this one Christmas where he said, "Here's a matching watch, here's a smaller one, and I'll have a bigger one, and it's matching." And his heart was like, "Oh, here's my father saying he loves me." And literally, it was just a few days after where the father smashed the casing, and he literally said, "Oh, give me that one. I'll have that one."
I got you.
And so he took it off him, and that
father
was it.
should have just went and replaced the one he broke.
Yeah, and so he took the watch of Dieter, and that was it. That was the one thing that he had from his father, and he took it, and it was like him taking his love away. And then he never did have any more intimacy with his father, and just the utter pain. I mean, he was carrying around that pain, and people can use drugs on that pain. People can drink on that pain. And the best thing is to get it out. It's like a thorn or a splinter, you know, you have to get it out. And that day he got it out. I mean, he ranted for hours and hours. And it's just that you have the power in it is that you've got witnesses. And literally, if you're ranting and you've got witnesses that say it's okay, you can be, it's okay, that it's okay. And then it lets that energy out, because you're not doing it on your own. And B, when you've done it, you've got other people say, yeah, I witnessed that. And that's so powerful. My energy during the show last week, ranting about my upsetness, to get that feedback from other people that said, it's okay. You know, it's okay to be. That's what abusers do. They're like, oh, if you're angry, you're bad. Well, no, it's not actually. You know, it's okay to be angry.
It's a sign. You know,
well, it was okay for Dieter to be angry. It was okay for him to punch the walls for literally 4 hours. All of us were shitting ourselves, but at the end, you know, we still loved him, and he came back in the room, and there was much love for him. You know, much love and much. You know, what you went through. You know, it was bad. What your dad did was bad. You deserve to be loved. You know, at that age, and that's healing. And then Dieter stops carrying around that burden of shame. You know, that burden of I'm not worth a watch.
Right. You know, something purposeful in my life. My father was very militant. I have 2 older brothers. I was number 3 out of 5. So, but my mother made him get out of the service because she was in love with him, and he was overseas. And he had a couple years to go to finish his career. So that put a strain on him that he came back. And he was very militant and very mean to my older brothers. I mean, and they could never forgive him. And I tried to say, you know, look at, you know, it wasn't on him that he acted like that. It was, you know, no matter what he did, you got to forgive him. And because I didn't like my father when I was young, but I learned after I left home, etc. And I tried to tell my older brothers, no, I'll never forgive him. You know, blah, blah. And you know what? My oldest brother, his kids, he wondered why they never hung out. Because he was, in essence, the same way. And I don't like to really talk that personal, but I told Joe, you've got to forgive yourself. You've got to realize the lifestyle of our father that you know, he didn't have the father. He was rushed into being a father, you know, and I don't know. You just have. I looked at it. You have to forgive yourself.
You have to forgive
them.
Yeah. That's what annoyed me with my troll saying, her family were good. She made out they abused her. You know, because it's so intricate and it's so personal, the relationship you have with your parents when they've abused you. You have to literally go through the stages of hate, raw hating them, and then finally forgiving them and forgiving yourself. And it's so intimate and so personal, you know. Someone comes along, starts calling it out, you know, and it's just like being raped, you know. It's stay away from others' personal stuff, everybody, okay? It's so intricate when your abuser is your mother and when your abuser is your father, because literally you have to find a way to love them again, which is like the hardest thing in the world.
Yes.
Even when they're dead, and you have to somehow come to terms with.
Right. And I look at it, well, if I was abused, well, I don't know. It's just got to forgive. Thank you, Christine, for inviting me.
Oh, God bless. Yeah, you've been fantastic, and you've given me a lot of energy, Jerry, and God bless you. Thank you for coming on the show. God bless. And thanks for listeners. God bless. I hope you're having a good time wherever you are. And thanks to my producer, Patrick English. God bless you, Patrick. Thanks for waking up.
You too, Christine. I'm sorry I didn't hear the alarm if it went.
Oh, no. Well, it's lovely to hear you. God bless.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody. God bless you too.